What is up, Sandwich fam? Welcome back to the channel. I got something really cool for you guys today. So I went ahead and I went and took it upon myself to go ahead and help out one of my homies, my homie Albert right here. He had this drift car for about 2-3 years now, and he's done a few events in it, but he ended up blowing up his 1JZ. That's for a different video, but basically, major problem with front sumps, with S chassis, IS300s, drift cars, anything front sump that isn't a rear sump, okay? So nothing Supra related, nothing SC300 related, and you know, on and on and on and on and on. So our cars have a lot of problems with sucking air. So what they've done now is Tomei came out with a baffle system a long time ago that's been on the market. I have right here that you have to order from Tomei Japan. It is a pain in the ass to get, but I have one here for S chassis, so it's not gonna be one of those kind of like divoted oil pans. It's gonna be the full-size oil pan. And our buddies over at Xcessive Manufacturing, which isn't on their website because it is a discontinued item because their foundry right now is kind of fucked up for being able to pour stuff and get stuff done. Well, they went ahead and sent us one of their last custom oil pans with baffles, as you guys can hear in there. So actually, this is really cool. It's a fully custom made poured piece. It has custom like drain fittings in it. It's got the full baffle. I mean, I'll kind of go into this with you guys right now, but two huge different prices and what you're getting and what you're paying for that do kind of the same thing, but it's just what's gonna be easier to get. So let me go ahead, and we got the 1.5J right here. We're gonna be putting the pans on this, or baffle kit on this, and I'm gonna show you guys how everything lines up and how everything works, why it's so important, and kind of talk about it, and just kind of show you guys what's necessary for building a drift car and having your car not blow up. So let's get it. So let's go ahead and get into this right now. So this is the Xcessive pan. As you can see, you got a big pickups location for this. This pan is supposed to actually suit somewhere close to like another quart of oil. I guess they were saying that you can run in this, and it works really cool. So when the oil comes in, the baffle will open like this and kind of slosh the oil back into the pickup on both sides. So as you can see, if you were to go like this and kind of shift the weight of the pan, it does it for you. Really cool too. I mean, it's way thicker than an OEM pan. It's cast, you're not gonna have to worry about bending it. I mean, obviously be careful when you're hammering it the hell off. You don't wanna just like beat the living crap out of it. And it comes with instructions. They give you brand new hardware. I mean, all in all, I think it's a beautiful product. I mean, they got their whole instruction right up right here about how to not over torque everything and the whatever amount you're supposed to actually torque all the bolts to, and yada yada yada. So really cool. You can drain it on either or sides, or even drain both sides at the same time if you wanted to. So expensive pan though. This is somewhere around $600. So I mean, if you guys are really die hard, I think that they spent a lot of time making this. I mean, I guess technically when you look at it, it probably just looks like somebody welded some plates and some baffles in. I mean, yeah, I guess that's what it is. But I mean, can you get anything better than US made? And actually being able to call the company and talk to them if you have any problems, pretty cool. Versus Tomei Japan, you're gonna be kind of SOLing on your own. So getting into the Tomei kit, so it explains to you that it comes with you know, they have their whole baffle installation piece that's gonna replace your OEM one that's gonna be right here. And then you're gonna have your actual baffle. It's gonna keep the oil from sloshing. Then they're gonna give you a new gasket, yada, yada, yada. It tells you which pickup you're supposed to be running, and you know how it's all supposed to be facing, because I guess there is two different kinds of pickups for these cars, yada, yada, yada. How to torque the bolts down. And those are their instructions. Of course, it's all in Japanese, and it does tell you right here, type 2, which means this is for the like V pan in the back or whatever. So I've already pulled that out of there. And we'll go ahead and get this open right now. I have not unboxed this, so let me kind of get in this real quick and open this stuff up for you guys. That is the part that will be replacing your OEM baffle, and then you have, I guess it's like this, where you'll line up your two holes back there in the back. You'll put the bolts in here, and I mean, that's it. Your pickup will be here in the middle. And I guess you have all these little flap plastic pieces that stay in here. I hope these don't deteriorate and cause problems, but I mean, it does look like these are there for a reason. It wouldn't make any sense to get rid of the rubbers that are inside of it. So my Japanese isn't that great, but I don't see anything in the instructions that say anything about removing the rubbers. You can actually still see them here. So what we're first supposed to do is get this lined up, put the strainer in, and then once you put the oil strainer in, then the top will kind of slide over it. It looks like your strainer will actually come out here and still bolt into the pan over here. So, I mean, cool design for what it is. They were saying in here on the English side of this, I don't know how I found it on the English side, but said something about you may have to shave the pan. Oh, here we go. You may have to shave the pan for clearance where it touches back here. Make sure there's no oil leaks. Where is it? Make sure the pan flange is properly made around and lightly move from front to back. So I guess this is kind of tight, it seems like. So I'm not really sure. The Tomei setup, I want to say this is about 400 bucks for this unit, and this is $600 for this unit. If I didn't want to have to deal with having, like, first of all, anything plastic inside of the pan, which probably is silicone or something, and I mean, judging by they're actually like pretty slipped in there and pushed in there, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. And I mean, it couldn't get sucked up into the strainer, so I mean, you would never have any problem with any of that. But I mean, if you didn't want to ever deal with that, you could just use the Xcessive pan, and this would get rid of a lot of stuff too. But I know that for all of the IS300 people, the Type 1 pan is supposed to be meant for the notch system. I don't know how available they are. I'm assuming it's probably very back order, but this is the only one that I was able to get. Luckily, we're putting it in an S chassis, so it's not a huge deal. But still, very, very, very beautiful items. Tomei's always made super, super nice stuff, so I have no really complaints about anything of theirs. And we're gonna go ahead and I guess get the pan glued on right now and get him all put together, since you've already gone through this 1.5J and done ACL race bearings and rod bolts. We're gonna go ahead and do an extra protection and go ahead and get these things kind of lined up and put on. So we went ahead and got this thing flipped over right now. I'm gonna kind of walk you through the Tomei real fast, just so that we can kind of see how all this stuff goes together. So real quick, this is just gonna slide on just like this. As far as fitment, we're should be pretty much dead on. So there you go, nice and lined up. And then we will go ahead and get our baffle, our pickup, sorry. And you'll see that's how that's supposed to sit, like that. And then what will happen is we'll grab this, and as it had said that it just goes over like that. So there's a little notch right here for this part to go in. This will go in over here, and you'll just line up all your bolts. So get all your bolts nice and lined up. And I mean, that's about it, you guys, as crazy as that is. So what'll happen is, while it's in there, the oil is gonna be right here in the pan, and this is gonna keep it from kind of sloshing around and just going like this. It's gonna keep it in this box where it's gonna be, you know, the happiest it can be. So yeah, that's the Tomei. And then let's really quickly give the Xcessive a try just to see fitment and see how that works. So stick this back in the box over here. I want to real quick to show you guys the difference in the front sump pans, just so that you guys can see for yourself. So obviously on this side, you can see no divot in the pan. Pan's completely normal. And there's no like little wall right here. You can see on this one, you have a divot in the pan, which is for all you IS300 guys that have the front sump sits so high up in the cross member, it actually sits over the cross member, and that's why there's a divot right here. Whereas like all you GS300 guys, you'll have the bigger capacity pan where it'll sit far enough away from the cross member to where you're gonna have that. And they do both run, from my understanding, they both do run two different pickups. I mean, it isn't a huge deal. You can run them vice versa. I mean, but just so that you guys can see, and I mean, you can even almost kind of see as well that the pan on this one is going to be, you know, a little bit bigger capacity than the other one as well. So just kind of showing you guys so that you guys can have a visual, you know, representation of what it is. So even turning them upside down so you can see it, you can see very, very easily that there's two different oil pans that you can get for these. So after talking, I kind of decided we're just gonna go ahead and use Xcessive. It actually goes on really, really easy. And you don't run a baffle inside because the baffle is already built into the oil pan. So you actually just, pretty simple, dude. You just bolt on your pickup and just go ahead and glue your pan and bolt it on and we're done. So pretty badass. Wanted to go ahead and show a quick shot of this too. You can just see how much bigger the oil pan is. even just all the way to here, like level to level. So this is definitely probably the best solution for drifting because you have a higher capacity. You have the baffles built in there. It's really quick and easy install, and it's a nice solid piece. So we went ahead and went this route. I think it's just overall really nice product. So we'll be testing all this stuff out in this car, guys. So before we end this video, I just wanted to go over a little bit of quick theory about this, just so you guys kind of understand the whole oil slosh thing. It's kind of self-explanatory, but if you need me to kind of draw out a quick little kind of like visual for you guys, I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. So basically what happens is while you're sliding with the OEM baffle, since it's just a plate, you know what I mean, and there's not really anything there to keep the oil from moving in the pan, the oil will slide to one side and even up out of the area it's supposed to, up into the block. And under just so much of this, basically from drifting, or even just elevation change or stuff like that too, if it sucks air, you blow your motor up. And it doesn't take very long for it to happen. It can happen almost like immediately. So this basically keeps it so when the oil transfers, it keeps it in the area it's supposed to be, instead of going like this and running all the way up into the other side, or kind of splashing off and doing this the whole time. It just kind of keeps it here the whole time, where it just kind of does this. And with the higher capacity as well, it's going to be submerged for longer as well. So that's kind of the idea with the Xcessive pan over the Tomei. I mean, I think they both work great. I've heard good stories about both of them. I just chose this for my homie because I know he doesn't check his oil very often. He doesn't actually really just doesn't think about it, I guess, when he goes out to do stuff. So maybe this will actually help him a little bit better than just the OEM capacity. I believe it's, like I said, I believe it's about a quart over for capacity. And obviously you can check your dipstick. I know you can even hold more if you were to put like an oil cooler setup on it as well. Also, let me cut in one more time before I forget. So I wanted to also go over one more thing about the whole importance to run a baffle in your engine for your front sump, guys. We had a story I wanted to kind of go over with you guys, and it's pretty quick, but our good friend had an IS300 that was the highest IS300 that we had the opportunity to go ahead and work on his vehicle. And it was a fully built IS300. The car made somewhere between 860 horsepower or something like that down here in California. Well, when he went ahead and moved to the state that he chose that he was going to be moving to, you know, there was a lot of racing out there, so he kept turning up the boost more and more. I would say somewhere, let's just say 950, you know, 900 or whatever, between 900 and 950 horsepower, maybe 1,000, I don't know. My tuner just let me know that he kept raising the boost and making the rolling anti-lag even crazier. Well, off the hit with the rolling anti-lag, the issue is the G-force that actually hits you when you hold your anti-lag button down, and it just basically like lifts your front end and just kind of like locks you down and makes you go. With all that G-force, all the oil from your front sump will actually go back up into the back of your pan, where it's flat, and that's where you will suck air as well. And this customer actually ended up blowing up his engine that was fully built and fully forged and a beautiful piece of art. And it was all because he needed to it ended up being that he sucked air and that he needed to run a baffle. So to let everybody know, this isn't just for all of your drifting people. This is also for anybody who's looking into doing like really crazy racing. I know that customer ended up going ahead and going with the Tomei assembly for his engine now. And I believe he's modifying his crossmember to be able to make that fit. So it is a thing that's done very commonly in IS300s, and I mean in other vehicles as well. It doesn't always have to be an IS300, but just making sure and putting it out there. It's not only drifting, guys. It's drag racing, it's roll racing, it's the rolling anti-lag. It's a lot of the important things that front sump people don't think about when you're making a, you know, over the top amount of horsepower. You know, most street cars that we're going to do are going to be somewhere between 500 and 700 horsepower. I don't really think for that kind of a setup, unless if you're launching at like 25 PSI or even 20 PSI, you probably won't need something like this. I mean, but if you're going to be doing that high of a launch on a lot more horsepower than that on drag radials and stuff like that too, you may want to consider going this route so you don't blow your engine up, guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's not going to be a super long one. If you want to see us finish this car was like the Nightmare S13 that we did with the fuel pressure drop on the channel like a few months back. He has now As I said, blown the 1JZ up. It's a 1.5 JZ already right here. We're getting him off V1, putting him on AAM Infinity. So if you want to see the old video of this thing just driving me freaking crazy, I'll go ahead and link it in the video. I'll also be linking the setup process of us getting the engine in and back in the car for part 1 of his 1.5J conversion for this guy. We got 2 more huge 1.5J builds that are here right now that are going to be hitting the channel. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Till next time, guys, any tips or tricks or questions you want to see or anything, any concerns, hit me up. Until next time, guys, peace.